I think
There
so.
we go.
All right,
Yep, there we go. All right. Hi, and
Yep.
welcome to Spoken Word with Raz. I'm Raz, your host. With me today is my wonderful, beautiful, and horribly horrible woman, Ash.
Hi.
Also, we have the queen herself, Morgan,
Howdy.
and my loyal puppy dog.
Indeed.
All right. How is everyone doing today?
What she said.
Well, on my end, it's actually not been terrible. Minus technical difficulties.
Right. Right. Oh, for me,
Doing IT is not good for your health.
That's true. That's true. For your mental health, it's terrible. Honestly, like I used to love it, but
Oh,
we'll
I
get
love
into
it.
that in a minute.
It's just terrible.
Yeah. Me, boredom. So much boredom for the past week. On the other hand, I have been playing video games.
Yeah, you've been doing that.
Now, if I've been enjoying those games is a whole different discussion, but I have been playing them.
I mean, you seem to be somewhat.
I think it's just been so boring that even the games I've been playing, even though they're kind of fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 I'm getting to a point where I'm playing mobile games and actually sitting through the ads and everything.
Cause you're a filthy casual.
I wouldn't be if my laptop wasn't broken.
Whose fault is that?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Whose fault?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Who was at the fault with the first one?
What happened to the laptop? What happened to the laptop?
The charger stopped working.
I'm actually curious.
It just needs a replacement to the charger. But we have this cheapo like multi one that we bought because, well, first off, she left her cord when she moved in 8 hours from us
to my laptop originally,
and then when we moved back to Kentucky, she left my cord.
Wait, she only left the cord and not the brick?
Oh, she left the brick and everything. If we had the brick, we could have solved this very easily. But she left the brick and the
Oops.
Yeah, she left the most important thing that makes it, work.
Oops.
In all honesty, if I was there, I'd be slapping her upside the head with a
don't
frozen
worry, he's
tuna.
done it. That's very specific, actually.
Well, actually, it would be kind of funny because frozen tuna is like pretty big. And
Yeah.
I've seen anime.
See, I let it thaw a little bit, so it has that
smack.
Yeah.
But you see, what I just said is a very, very old reference.
Okay.
And apparently none of you have ever been in IRC chats.
I know a few different anime stuff that has that, so
I haven't been in an IRC chat for, easily 10,
decades.
15 years. Yeah. And I don't remember anything about a fish, so it may just have been the
You don't remember the slap command?
Oh! I kind of remember it.
Yeah.
Old.
Slap someone upside the head with a frozen tuna.
That is so archaic.
Yes, I know.
Old dust. Dinosaur dust.
To be fair, I think he is actually the oldest person in here.
Wait, really?
Not by much.
No, I think he's a year older than me.
Oh.
So
less than, but
doesn't matter. You're
close
still
enough.
turning 35 this year.
Yep.
You're
In
at
a month,
the top. You're at the top of the mountain. It's all downhill from here.
I feel pretty much downhill, but sure.
Yeah.
I'm a dog, so no hole goes unexplored.
Oh, but
I don't know how to audio represent a facepalm, but
the classic slap sound is
yeah,
fine.
I was trying to. I
Yep.
don't know. Yeah, there you go. He's self-inflicting pain on myself for the audio comedy purposes.
Damn.
Well, in all honesty, and if it wasn't for Raz asking me to do stuff in Minecraft, the first thing I'd be doing would be exploring caves.
What, in Minecraft or in real life?
Like, Minecraft.
I want to point out that if I don't give him specific instructions, he will literally destroy everything in his path.
Yeah.
I just do whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. So let me give you an example. So we were playing a mod in Minecraft once, and there are two specific mods I want to highlight here. One gives these kind of like battle towers, okay? The other one, when you spawn in, you can right-click it and make a house. A pre-built house that just appears. It has everything you need. It's a great thing to start. So we told him it might be best not to set his down because we already had ours. And if he did, to do it away. What he did is he set it right near our house, right into the battle tower.
It was a castle, actually.
It was a castle?
It was a castle. That's why we wanted it, because it was a full castle, and he built
and destroyed it with
his own house
being spawned.
I actually have a defense for that.
Are you sure? Because it
I do.
sets out a whole blueprint in front of you, showing you where it is before you set it down.
Yes, but it did not give a good representation of how big the building was going to be.
I didn't get that one.
Because that was about 5 times bigger than I thought it would be.
And to put it in an open field.
I did put it away. I did put it away. I just didn't put it enough away.
An open field is not a castle.
I put it like
all the way through it, destroyed half the building.
Yeah, I know. I still thought it was far enough. Again,
yeah,
I had no sense of perspective with that thing, with the damn thing.
There are
the
definitely
building
some unresolved
huge.
issues here. Everyone needs to calm down, alright? It's a house in Minecraft.
I am extremely calm because...
fired up.
Not me, though.
The unresolved issues is the amount of rage that both of them brought out of me on that day.
I don't know what you're talking about. I was perfectly fine.
Oh, it was good. It was good. It was just fantastic. So fantastic that day.
Well, the lesson to learn from this is don't give me anything I don't know how to use. Or you don't explicitly tell me how it works.
Why do you think when we were playing Dungeon Defenders, I was being very, very specific?
Yeah. I am planning on moving to the US, and the first time I go into a shooting range, it's going to be an experience. With the point of difference that I know in theory how a gun works. Mechanically.
Well, I will ensure that you understand it, not in theory, before we take you to the shooting range.
I mean, and that was me thinking he was going to say that he's going to come to the US and he's going to build a house right inside your house.
I'm
That we're going to step
As
this
funny
Minecraft
as-
thing up to the real world.
as funny as that would be, and it would be extremely tempting to do, because I am that kind of person.
Yes.
I don't think that would be a good idea to do in real life.
No, because the
At least not without a get out of jail free card.
Yeah, there you go.
If I had a get out of jail free card, then run.
I will brutally.
I
I'll
will
take you
brutally
out
defend
back.
myself.
I will take you out back and give you a 12 gauge goodbye. Also, we're past the 5-minute mark, so we're all good.
Ah, sweet. Thank God.
We really have
The 5-minute mark or the 50% minute mark?
Wow, cunty
50%.
fuck chops.
Wait.
That was a long 5 minutes.
No, it's 10 minutes past 8, so past 10.
I'm gonna be honest with you, I completely forgot about the 5-minute mark thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but nobody
I
said
usually
anything.
do.
Yeah, but
Well,
usually when she forgets about it, she still waits. She usually says something after the 5-minute mark, so it's all good. I just said the 5 minutes. I've heard that
Well
it's 3 to
trained.
5. Yep.
Well, congratulations, you jinxed it.
I jinxed what?
We haven't done it yet. We've done like five recordings now, and we haven't yet. I think sworn before the 5 minutes mark. I think.
I think the first time I did introduce you as the Queen of Cunts. So.
Oh wow! I mean, the first time deserves the full title.
Right. I'm wondering if I should have something set up. So I need we'll be starting timer thing. You know, and then go ahead and let it play for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'll work.
Yeah.
That'll work.
Oh yeah, did you actually send the podcast to people?
What's that?
Did you send the podcast?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes?
But no.
Start.
Sometimes people don't always show up. They don't have to.
I was just wondering if he did or not.
No, it's not about them. I mean, we like them being here. Please come and listen to us, but still, at the same time, it's not about them.
Damn, okay. Fuck you guys, I guess.
I mean, to be fair, I like really the streams is basically a therapy for us.
Yeah.
I mean that's the best way to put it. And then we put it out into the world.
Yeah, just in case it's therapy for someone else as well.
Yep.
You know, there are a lot of broken, fragmented minds out there, just like ours. You never know.
Oh, the sense of normalcy, right? That's what people are looking for. The sense of that what they do and who they are is normal.
Yeah, a little bit of affirmation in yourself.
Hate to tell you, sweetheart, normal is relative. Also, normal is boring. It really
Right?
is.
Oh my god.
Not necessarily,
God.
but
There's no fun in living stable.
Hold up. When I say normal is boring, it's like I have no problem. Like, really, me and Ashley lives a pretty mundane life, but having an entertaining personality and stuff like that mixed with that is that's where it's at, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that can be considered normal.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I've always worked on a basis of the fact that if I do have to spend time with myself, I want to make sure that I'm the most entertaining person I know. Like, which means that I have great conversations with me all the time. Sometimes it's the best conversation I have all day.
To be honest, I think the best conversations people have with themselves are generally either in the shower or before sleep.
Oh.
That's where the deep thoughts come out.
Yeah?
We're not going to talk about my brain.
No, we are not.
That's a whole podcast in and of itself.
We are not.
I mean, we barely started, so
Pandora's
no.
box.
If we want to dive, if
No.
you guys want to dive in,
I mean, we're here.
No.
okay,
I'm not got
okay.
anything else to do for next hour.
Oh man. Okay. What do you want to know?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Well, what was your most entertaining shower thought lately?
See, you act like I have like that my brain doesn't have thoughts like that all the time. All the fucking time. There is not a moment, even as we are talking right now, my brain is having a conversation with itself. I'm not very happy with where it's going, but
Okay.
I mean, feel free to share.
ultimately it just comes down to how my brain functions. Explaining it is a lot harder than usually when I'm talking to people, everything like that, I usually have other things in my mind. It's why I used to jump from conversation to conversation. In the span of like 10 minutes, we talk about I don't even know how many topics. You already know this, Happy. You were there when I used to do that all the time.
Yeah.
Couldn't stay focused at all. I'm a lot better at it now. I can stay on focus of what I'm actually talking about until you guys change the subject.
Yeah, there you go. We're worse than you are at it.
It's called practice. It's called practice.
Drugs work.
I don't. I
I
don't
would
know
be
if I would
terrified
work.
to see him on drugs. Okay.
You'd be terrified to see me on drugs.
Yes.
Well, technically, I have spoken to him while he was on drugs.
This is true.
Technically.
What's it technically?
Yeah, why is it technically? Because I'm pretty sure I was on drugs.
Oh.
Because I was actually talking about the smokes. Not the
Which-
weed, just the smokes.
Which smokes? Oh,
Tobacco, you idiot.
You mean my tobacco? Oh, come on.
Yeah,
I know I'm not very straight with things because it's funny, but come on.
Ha! Straight.
Super straight.
Are you sure?
As a broken arrow.
I just think the hilarious thing is you're talking about smoking cigarettes in England. We can both call a cigarette both a straight and a fag, and that is hilarious.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I actually know that one.
I didn't even think about that.
Oh. No, I smoked for years. Oh man. I'm glad I don't smoke even though I vape now.
Yeah.
Much better. Much better.
Yeah, I can't smoke. I am literally a person that cannot smoke. Well, tobacco, anyways.
You've tried and you've just been really bad at it, or you physically can't do the motion of it?
Oh, that's a story in and of itself, which I will tell because it is funny. It would also be considered extremely complicated nowadays.
That's
But
fair.
when I was about 5-ish, I went into the bathroom where my mother was doing her business and smoking, and I asked her for a puff, which she obliged. I guess that thing hit me so hard, I literally spent the next 2 decades having constant headaches whenever I got anywhere near people smoking.
Oh wow.
Probably
Fair
the best
enough.
deterrent you could have had.
So yeah,
Well,
want to stop people from smoking? Traumatize them.
I.
Break them early.
Oh man.
I had a friend. Sorry.
Oh no. Go ahead.
I was going to say I had a friend when I was a teenager whose dad had caught him smoking one day and then dragged him down to the bottom of the garden and sat there and gave him 2 packs of 20 straight cigarettes. Right, and then was like, "Go on then, sit there and smoke them." And he made him sit there and chain smoke them, one
Yeah.
after the other. And the guy was like, "Oh my god, it was the worst thing ever." We're like, "But you still smoke?" He was like, "Oh yeah, if anything, it made it worse."
Okay, so mine was worse. I had a friend whose dad did the same thing, but it wasn't that he had to smoke one and chain smoke it. He made him smoke multiple at a time because it makes you sick. As the lesson, he had to smoke the whole pack he had. Right, I just tell people, hey, probably not a good idea to smoke. Like, I always tell people not to do it, even though I like smoking. I have no problem telling people that either, but it's like, the cost and the damage and the stuff that over the long term wasn't worth it, no matter how much I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
You know? Gosh, it was so expensive also by the end of it.
Yeah.
Yep. I don't smoke, but to compensate, I just buy games.
I do.
One destructive hobby for another. Go ahead.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I do. I just yeah, I don't smoke that much, I would say, but it's mostly because I do smoke a lot of weed. So
That
it's
is
kind of
one
my
thing I have not
interim.
partaken in.
Oh, when I finally quit, I was easily doing like in a month. Let's see here, let me do the math and stuff. Something like $400 or $500 a month on cigarettes. Easy.
Ouch.
Yeah, and that's too much.
Funny enough, at the time I had the job and money to actually keep up with the habit, but what I ended up doing is that's when I decided to start vaping, and it took a while to quit. Like, I was still smoking, but I drastically lowered the amount I was, and I finally quit. Like, now I still vape, but I spend like maybe $100 a month on my vape habit versus the ridiculous people are paying now because cigarettes are even more expensive than when I was smoking.
Oh, and they're only getting more expensive. Oh, you should see it. I mean, Happy might see these sorts of things and don't know what it's like over in Portugal. It seems to be a little bit more lax in certain parts of Europe, but what they've taken to now in the UK is it's illegal to have any cigarette branding on the outside of the packets. So all the packets are the same colour, and they're all garnered with these beautiful pictures of the effects of smoking. So they're like, yeah, what's that? This is how we tell the backy pouches apart now in our house. So what have I got? Oh, today I've got it's a toxic vial. So it's someone wearing a mask with gloves and a sort of vial on the front of it that says toxic, and it's black and yellow, and it says horrible things all over it to try and get you to quit. But fortunately, I am conditioned. My mind is strong enough to break their social conditioning.
Well, yeah, we have something similar over here where we have the packets with the images of people and the conditions that can happen.
Yeah,
and I do distinctly remember my dad when he bought a packet one day. He got one that said smoking causes abortions.
Yeah.
And he turned around and he said, "Yeah, mind swapping me for another one? I'm not a woman." It's like, yeah.
The joke,
Wow.
obviously, now the joke was in the UK was that you have a guy who goes in, and goes to the counter, and they hand him a packet of cigarettes, and it says, "Smoking will causes impotency and reduces your sperm count." Says, "Do you mind if I can swap this?" So he gets the one that says like, "Smoking will cause miscarriage," and he's like, "Brilliant! I'm a lot safer with this one."
Oh my god!
You know, I mean, dark humor that we have over here, but yeah, that's kind of what you're faced with. Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's the only way to handle it. Like,
Oh.
I think people have already gone to the point where I know I'm wrecking myself, so just let it go.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah,
no.
this is it, isn't it?
What if I told you the funnier part is that all of those things are paid by the tobacco companies?
Oh wait,
Yep.
really?
All the truth stuff and everything like that actually ended up being now. Back in the day, obviously they had like the Camel, Marlboro Man, and stuff like that, and they had to stop using mascots because it was targeting children. That was the whole thing with it being the coloring, and then like the flavored cigarettes. The reason they got canceled over here is again targeting children, kind of stuff and everything like that. But yeah, truth commercials are actually paid for and everything like that by the tobacco companies.
I'm sorry, when you said that flavored cigarettes were canceled because it was targeting children, my brain went, okay, so are they canceling flavored condoms then?
I mean, it's a reasonable question to ask.
Right. Well, don't you know, but they want children to have sex.
Oh shit!
Safely, mind you.
Safely. Yeah, safely. Here's safe sex. Now go have as much sex as you want. No, I want to point out that condoms only have a 99 proof.
Oh Jesus!
I really wish I didn't know adults that actually believe this. Like, okay, as an adult and as someone with kids and everything like that, like, this is my whole thing. Sex is probably going to happen. But it's not a negative to kind of maybe wait till you're not a teenager, or at least not in school anymore.
Yeah, 100%.
Maybe not tell kids.
I really don't understand what the obsession is with making kids like simultaneously older and younger at the same time. It's like you want them to embrace the culture of adults and they're behaving like adults whilst at the same time not being less responsible for themselves. Like, it's a combination of two things. Like,
not only that,
you think
treating them like children.
Yes.
Like they
babying them, coddling them, but also telling them they still have to be adults.
Whilst exposing them to adult material constantly.
Yeah.
Like, it seems so backwards.
And another thing that I hate is like, I'm gonna use an example from my own life because this was happening with me too. My mom would be like, yeah, if you need any help at all, I will be here for you. But any time that I actually needed help, she would never help me and tell me that I needed to learn how to do it on my own. And it got to a point that I just only did things on my own and never went to anyone or relied on anyone. And that kind of fucked me up a little bit. But then on top of all that, I was still a kid. So I started trying to sidestep my problems, thinking that I couldn't actually deal with them because I was a kid. So it was this really fucked up thing where I was between being passed over my childhood because I wasn't allowed it, but also still being a kid.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Actually, that goes into my whole thing, what she was just talking about, like that. Why I've been so frustrated with adults and older people, and is that very thing. Hey, you need to do something on your own. Hey, if you ever need help, let me. It's one of those things where you need the assistance, or you need the or even if you don't need the help in a way of like teaching somebody how to do something, right? Or
You need some
explaining something.
stabilizers sometimes.
Yeah.
You just need to know that someone's there with their arms ready to catch you, just in case you do fuck up and fall over.
Yep.
Even if they're not actually holding on to you, they're not actually doing anything. It's like your parent holding your bike whilst you're riding, going like, yeah, I've got you, but you're riding on your own without, that sort of thing. That sort of safety net around you. Guidance, but without actually doing it for you.
Yeah.
I think as a parent, like, I wish I could say that I did it. I was brilliant at it. But maybe that's something that Ash can help me with, like being closer to the opposite end of it than I am, where it's like, it's not easy because the world is so different to, like, this is the other thing, is the generation gap being so massive. The world is so different. Like, the advice that I'd be giving him is for a world that died 10 years ago, like the social, all of these things are so different. Like, he's more intelligent than me when it comes to doing academia, and when it comes to the social climate, like, the social climate is a different world to the one that I was navigating when I was a teenager. Like, all I can do is sort of like tell him what I know. But I'm wondering whether or not that information's virtually obsolete these days.
Right. Honestly, hey, what's up? We have somebody in the chat watching the thing. We're just kind of going off on different directions, but now it's more talking about kids and growing up, like what lessons and
pretty much
where adults have failed, but what we're trying to pass on to. Honestly,
how do I not fail as an adult?
The problem is that the thing is, I don't think you should encourage today's viewpoint and stuff like that. That doesn't mean that you step away. Like going back to how I remember being taught is you're taught all of the wrongs in the world. Like, this is the things, right? But you should do opposite. You should strive to be better.
Yeah.
And honestly, people with this mindset, if you get take me and you and everything like that, and like I'm striving for that old mindset myself, is that I'm doing better for it. So really, is it a good, like, you worry about a world that doesn't exist anymore, but these lessons are still good.
Yeah, I think that what you were just saying then, it just immediately made me think the thing that I think we've discussed so many times, that point you just keep going back to, is that humans are humans. Kind of doesn't matter where you go in the world or how far back you go in time. We've been humans for a while. We make the same sort of mistakes and somehow made up with the same sort of clockwork as we always have been. So, yeah, I imagine there's still a lot. I'm just very much still in a case of I'm still working it out myself as well. Like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Like, I think a lot of people said before, like, we're dealing with a different time with different technology, but, going back to when we were young or other people were young, we all did stupid shit.
Yeah.
In the case of, like, even older people, some of them were living in much more violent times than us, where things were actually worse.
I would say that
agreed.
The type of mistakes are the same. It just changes the context.
Yeah, and I was just stated, the world exists as it does now because of the strength of men. Yeah, that's pretty common. Life has gotten, again, we constantly see these ebbs and flows of getting easier and harder. And the problem that I think a fight that will always be, though, as technology or new skills or new things come along, even going back to, okay, so like this is a thing. When the Industrial Revolution happened, right? and things got a lot easier, there were actual riots from people who used to do these jobs because the technology came around that put them out of work.
Yep.
This is not a new thing.
Yeah,
we don't do change very well as a species.
I think the problem with technology and adapting nowadays is more that the technology to make things is getting better, but there's a hell of a lot more people that need something to do.
I was actually talking about that. I think I was talking to Teranak about this, where we have so many people now and technology has advanced so quickly that I think back in the day, because there was less people, people shined a lot more. I don't think there's any less talent or anything like that, or that there aren't people like this. It's just there's so many people. It's a lot harder now.
It's a lot of noise to stand out in.
Oh. And I think part of that, and the ease and stuff like that is where I think it has come down to, like I said, the lack of purpose comes from why should they?
Yeah.
Again, going back into the day, like he was talking about, Teranak again, was talking about, when he grew up, it was a lot more dangerous and stuff like that. People knew the consequences of their actions and stuff like that. I mean, of course, the love, the die young and stuff like that, and the classic, what was it called? People also did a lot of really dangerous things back, a lot more dangerous things too, though, back then, in general.
Yep.
The hold my beer was strong in that. But risk creates innovation.
Yeah. That was it. I think there was a certain amount of... There was still so much to be found. There was still so much to be sort of right. And I think there's definitely a psychology to the mystery of it all to still be found out. Like, if you don't know that someone else already knows something, then you're just going to try and find it out yourself.
Yeah.
I think now there's the psychology, I think, of the connectedness of the entire world, as brilliant as it is. There is a psychology with almost being defeated by every idea has already been come up with. It's almost what our movie industries are seeing right now, where it's like, have they got any new ideas? No. Has anyone seen a movie that's come out in the last few years that actually seemed like a strikingly original film?
The problem is that the original and the ideas do exist. They just don't exist in Hollywood.
I know, and that's it. But you've got this problem with this very small stream of people, small amount of people who dominate on this global platform, and it almost feels it's almost the psychology behind being felt like you're drowned out, even if you're not actually drowned out by the noise of everyone else.
Yeah. I mean, you no longer have a you have, like you said, a strong number of people going to Hollywood. The reason we're not seeing new Hollywood movies that people will actually want to see is because they're not letting people in like that. This isn't the Hollywood of the 90s, 80s, 70s.
No.
Even when you do something, that, like, Joker came out, right? I want to go to that one because it's obviously inspired by Scorsese and stuff like that, but that was seen as, like, a risky film. Like, how sad is that?
That's such a shame.
And I liked it. It was okay. I don't think I think for a lot of people it's the same thing. Like I say, it's when a movie comes out that is competent and fun, or it gets a lot more praise because of the look at what it's up against. Look at what are it. That's how I view it, anyways. It's like if you're given nothing but shit, something that's halfway edible is like the best thing you've ever eaten.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think that's a relatively good analogy.
Yeah, I think that as far as making new stuff, I think that Hollywood's doing better when it looks outside.
Yeah.
Because this isn't exactly a new movie, but Edge of Tomorrow, I thought it was legitimately good.
I thought it was okay.
Funny when it needed to be, and it just did what it needed to do.
I still
the original material is better.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm not gonna say it isn't, but as a movie that was done by Hollywood, and that's a really big handicap.
Hurdle.
Handicap really big handicap. Hollywood doing anything outside their environment is weird.
Funny enough, I think Tom Cruise does more to be innovative in a lot of the films. Even when he does the Mission Impossible stuff, the stunts are awesome, and they are usually pretty solid movies. Or Oblivion, where it's a weird... Yes, they're weird movies. Edge of Tomorrow, it still has that sci-fi action and some nice ideas. They're not like the greatest movies ever, but they do exactly what the audience wants, right? And they do go outside of the norm.
Yeah,
and they're not completely indoctrinating you into Scientology whilst they do it.
Right.
Yeah, like stuff like Pacific Rim. Like, if you keep the concept simple, then things work out. Big robots, big monsters, fight. End of.
And it had a couple of
King Kong, Godzilla. It's just big guys fight. End of. There is no need for any big drama, human relationships, nothing like that.
Oh, don't even get me started.
And fuck shit up.
Don't even get me started on Transformers. Don't get me started on Transformers and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies. Please don't.
I was thinking of these.
Actually, please don't, because I just don't think I can listen to him tear the Transformers movies apart like that. Because I'm like, I know they're not the best, but my little heart just.
You mean the Shia LaBeouf films?
You mean the Shia LaBeouf films? But if you don't look just for the CGI.
You mean a movie about giant robots with personalities, actual goals. And we focus on the humans, not the intergalactic war.
To be fair,
but for the moment you do get
Transformers, but because it is Transformers and it's supposed to be about Transformers, I see his argument. So
yeah, and I completely get it. I completely get it. And I'm like, if it was like, if we had more, like, if we can just forget about the bits with Shia LaBeouf and just appreciate the awesomeness that was the actual Transformers and the actual awesome CGI and the actual transformations and stuff before they started ruining it by changing the way that Transformers transformed. You don't own how Transformers transform. They transform like Transformers. You fucking idiots. And I don't even get started. Don't even get me started on what they did to the Dinobots. Like, it hurts.
No,
it hurts. It hurts.
I have a question for you. Tell me Optimus Prime's personality.
Optimus Prime's personality. Well, he was all about saving the Autobots and making sure that there was some kind of last stand ready to try and take back Cybertron, and he wasn't prepared to sacrifice the humans to make that happen. But he was all about making sure that the Decepticons were stopped.
Okay. Now tell me his actual personality.
I mean, he was quite stoic and
And violent? Like, incredibly angry? You mean
yeah.
Optimus Prime, the most compassionate being who takes on a role that he was unprepared for? Fighting every moment to stop and not wanting to kill his opponents?
Yeah.
But instead of being shown like having that hesitation, or having that moment of genuine sadness, murders the fuck out of everything in his way.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
they kind
question.
of Michael Bay desecrated it. He did desecrate it, but I got to see real life, like live action Transformers. All right.
Yeah, and again, they had moments that could have been great. Why did we care at all? Like, again, we should have had a couple of human characters who were
Right.
supposed to be our surrogates,
Yeah.
so we see what's happening.
Yeah.
But it's not about the Transformers. They are
No.
literally, other than 2 or 3, are barely in their own fucking movies.
Yeah. And the desecration that they did on the actual like various different Transformers as well. Like, so many of them, the characters just got destroyed so that they could fit sort of. Oh, don't, because Hot Rod has been one of my favorite Transformers since I was a child. And he did at the end of the movie, and he becomes Rodimus Prime, and I was like, and then they finally put him in like the third movie, and he was French, and I'm like, no, don't want to be offensive, but how dare they?
And then you have the my personal thing, because again, I'm the right age for it. I was a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles kid. That was that Power Rangers, all that stuff, right? I was that kid. I love that first film. Is still one of my favorite films. Just the
Oh my god, I'm right there with you. I don't care. Those suits were awful, but it was so good. That film was so good.
Awful. Those were groundbreaking. They actually
I
had
know
real
they were.
animatronic. Now you're thinking the second and third film where they weren't.
No, I just
good.
look back on it. Obviously, I look back on it because I was so young. I don't even know if I was. What year was the first one out? I don't even remember.
1990.
1990.
I was like 3
yeah,
or 4. I was like 3 or 4 when the film came out, but I've seen that movie so many times. The thing is like the animatronic, like Splinter, unlike the Turtles, doesn't even have a human body double. Like, there's nobody in that. That is all animatronic. And you still believe he's there. But it's a movie about family. It's just, and again, it's got awesome action. Oh man, I love that film. I've seen that. Like, we just watched it last year, didn't we? Me and you together. Yep.
I think so.
So, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on the new iteration of it then?
So why do the what? Can we start with like what they look like? They are nightmare fuel with none of the with all of the personality and everything interesting about them stripped out for a big budget action film that still cannot compete with its original film.
No, it can't even compete with the cartoon series.
That's even sadder. Which one? Because there's the great ones. Here's the thing, though. I know a lot of people didn't care much for it because of the second part, but I actually liked the TMNT movie from the 2000s, the CG one. I thought it did excellent at bringing those from the first film into the and plus we get the fight that we've all been craving, which was Leonardo versus Raphael. And it's heartbreaking. What?
I love how invested you are.
I am absolutely invested.
Oh, you will find out very quick. He gets very invested in things.
Yeah, no, I empathize completely. It was just, and it was heartbreaking. It was what we all wanted, but it was heartbreaking. And I'm like, yeah, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles can fuck you up like that. I get it.
Well, no, because it's still good storytelling. It's two brothers.
No, it is.
One, like, take it from the poetic viewpoint of, like, the classic story. It's this is, you have the two brothers. You have Raphael, who's the hothead, who doesn't like being told what to do, who's overlooked in a lot of ways, to his brother Leonardo, who is the leader, claimed to be the leader.
Yeah.
And how their personalities clash, and how anger and resentment, and both of them frustrated with each other. Raphael refusing to step in line. Because again, Leonardo's been damaged too by putting this responsibility and by going through the things he has. And then the brother who doesn't feel like he's respected. That he's better than Leo. And then they finally clash. And it's violent, it's brutal, and it's just all the emotions on screen told through its portrayal of combat.
I tell you, you're really making me miss my old media studies class. It's one of those where it's like when you get down to the breakdown of things like that, and you're like really going into the depths of the storyline and the characters and the journeys that they've been on. It's like, you just say it with so much emotion. Just imagine someone coming in going, "Oh, brilliant! What film are they talking about?" Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, what's funny is my AP Literature class was a class like that because we would study the actual story, and then we would study the film based on the story.
Yeah.
And we would usually say, yeah, the film is fucking shit.
To give my final thoughts on the TMNT before we split off on something else. My biggest thing with it, though, is that what makes the clincher of it all is after the two fight, Raphael wins this fight, spoiler warning, Raphael wins this fight, and he's not happy about it. He's not happy. He realizes what he's done, and there is that moment of clarity after the anger and everything like that. That he tried to kill his brother. Come on, that's good storytelling.
Yeah.
But
they don't do that sort of thing anymore.
No. It's really funny that we have a more human story told through, like classic poet, told through stories like that.
Yep.
It's the beauty of Shakespeare, isn't it? That it's I mean, you can tell a Shakespeare story in every generation in a different way, and it still be the same characters and the same plot.
Yeah.
And there is, I don't think there is a generation that goes by where we don't have an iteration of a Shakespeare play given to us in the form of a movie of some way or another. I mean, Romeo and Juliet is the obvious one, but Taming of the Shrew gets done all the time as well.
Right. Funny thing is, like, fact fiction, and you hear, like, this is when I hate the pretentiousness of, like, because what I just told you, like, all the ideas and stuff like that, when you get into, like, more of the pretentious stuff, like, I don't find Shakespeare itself to be pretentious when you know more about, like, the time period and stuff, but the biggest thing that I get into was, the great thing about fiction is the ability to tell human stories in fantastic worlds, because you can say something, in my opinion, more profound in a lot of ways. Because everyone talks about the human experience, but then you have everybody like, oh, I need to tell the story of the human experience, and oh, this, and think they're so much more bigger than what they are,
Well, in fact, actually, I will come in with like when you say about movies over the last, however many years, the ones that District 9. District 9 I think is one of the most profound movies as a sci-fi as well, etc. But it's almost like they tell the story of apartheid better than any human could through these prawn-like aliens.
No, I like District 9 a fuck ton. I do not care at all about Elysium. Same director, by the way.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't really enjoy Elysium as much, though. I thought District 9, but there's that Vickers, you're just there with him every step of the way. Fucking Ponce. I fucking love that movie so much.
Can I be honest, though? I think the movie does so well because of the actor, though. Really so.
Yeah. I mean, he's brilliant, isn't he?
If you had anyone else, I think that movie would be dumb if you had anyone else in that film. Really. I really believe this. He did so well at selling everything about, like, and the tragedy of his character.
Yeah, I think because I mean, I don't recognise him from anything prior to District 9. I remember him. I've seen him in stuff since, and I think that they needed someone who was virtually unknown, sort of like not a superstar, to play the role, so that you could really appreciate the sort of that normal mundane life, and just how precious that is.
Funny enough, he's actually in Elysium as the bad guy, the other guy with the super suit who's chasing him, which, by the way, is the best part of the film. He's having so much fun playing that character. But this is also why I like a lot of science fiction action films, because of that same mindset. I will always talk about, like, the original RoboCop, Blade Runner, Total Recall. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
These are movies. Demolition Man. These are movies that could be seen as just dumb, fun action movies until you start peeling away, like RoboCop. Yes, you have a super cop who he's a cop, he has a wife and kid and everything like that, goes out and has one bad day where he gets literally destroyed and blasted by the sleaziest, most he's Red from that 70s show, by the way. But he just Clarence Boddicker is just this amazingly vile person. And they take this body, this man and everything like that, and they turn him into a robot, a cyborg. And just the sadness of, like, what happened, like, as he gains back his memories, like, regaining that soul of a man that he was.
Yep.
Tell me other stories that do that, that you can do that with. But otherwise, you could literally go in and just see this movie about this giant metal tank robot that shoots people and takes down the bad guys.
Yeah, I definitely think we've lost an art to movie writing, though. I really do. There's definitely been something lost along the way, where we went from having these, like you say, these really, really sort of textured, like multi-leveled, multifaceted storylines and characters and things like that, to the shit that they're producing today.
Well, yeah, I'd buy that for $1. Yes. The whole thing with it is there's rules now. Like I said, everything has become political. See, even if a movie is political back in the day, there were so many different types of movies that, and again, different people did write from their political viewpoint to say something, everything like that, but they wrote a movie first, a entertaining movie, and then they would sprinkle in their little commentaries, right? Today, that is the focus. Women can't lose to men. The bad things that we used to consider bad are now good. We have to have representation.
I don't know. I see now. I think there's a reason why that you've got the British comedians of old, some of the most vocal standers on, like, the freedom of speech, even in the UK, where we don't actually have any freedom of speech written into any kind of law. The biggest proponents of making sure that writing is still writing, especially comedy, is still comedy, and the likes of John Cleese and
Right.
Rowan Atkinson and the people who were, pushing the boundary of what was funny, because let's face it, the stuff that they were writing 60 years ago or 40 years ago, you could not get away with now. Like, the Monty Python movies would not be, and they were objected heavily in their day.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
they were the points of political sort of, when Life of Brian came out, my goodness.
Right.
Church were not pleased, shall we say. But yeah, and even now, you've got these same men standing up and fighting and having to fight, saying that we're going backwards. Like,
Yeah.
we've gone to the point where we've fought these battles, and we got to the point where it was okay to be able to, like, talk about anything. You can't reflect culture through movies unless you can talk freely about the culture.
Right.
Like, and that's why there's that again, it comes down to the politics. If you can't actually be honest about what's actually happening in your society, then you aren't reflecting society, and therefore people aren't engaging with it.
Well, let me make it even more clear. Like, again, what they're doing is wrong. We can even prove this. Look how popular all the movies that I just talked about still are when you show them to people. Like Ashley here, I have shown her so many movies she had never seen before that are culturally relevant or good, or
To be fair, I knew a good amount of cultural good movies.
That's true.
Because I was a lonely child and did everything on my own.
But there was always something. Again, like we were talking before, about what I'm working on. Like, I had another new idea to do a story with. We talked about last night, and the funny part is, if I wanted to make this into a movie, I would have so much backlash. My main character is a legit Puritan religious person. Yes, there is some things, criticism of religion in it, but this is a good man who does horrible things, right? But look at the lessons and everything that he would be teaching, and again, he's toxically masculine.
But everyone was fine with that sort of stuff. Like, Jesus Christ, they made 2 seasons of Punisher not that long ago.
Yeah.
No, toxic masculinity only became something that was super mega bad really, really recently, and it will fizzle out again. Every time I think about it, I just think of the scene on South Park with the 2 farmers going, "Oh, the PC had started again. How long did it last time? Oh, 7 years, about." And I'm like, yeah, it's got to come to an end soon, because it's only so far you can go.
Well, yeah, with how much money and everything these people are losing now and stuff like that, it's like, again, it's really funny. They're wanting to move into anime now because anime, the thing that Japan, because Japan still makes whatever the hell it wants. That's more popular in comics and all this stuff like that.
It's all about where the money goes, and that's the thing, is they think that the people shouting loudest are the people that spend all the money, but they're not. The people that shout the loudest are a minority of people. It's just they do shout the loudest.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. And again, the minority is much bigger. Like, again, the thing is 30 years ago, you would be in agreement, but there is so much more people now. That's where it gets frustrating. Is there's so many more people now that minority seems a lot bigger.
Yeah.
Seems a lot bigger. Even if
the percentage points are the same, but the mass is much bigger.
Well, think about this in the U.S. In the U.S., there's 330
something,
like 330 million people, right? Even if you take 1% of that, how many people is that? That's like 3,300,000 people, I think. 300,000 people.
Yeah, 3.3 million is at one point.
Think about that size. Really think about that size.
No.
Right.
It's a lot of people.
Yeah. But that minority is also the ones in power and who are capable of telling people like Taranak mentioned, people are afraid to speak out because they think there's a lot more than there is of these people. And sadly, a lot of these people are now in places of power.
Yeah. I don't think the problem is that there's a lot of them. I think the problem is that the few there are where they need to be or where they shouldn't be, and they have quite the voice.
Like, this might turn people away, but I make no qualms that I'm against the third wave feminism and stuff like that, and all the culture stuff today. And I remember back 6-7 years ago where they say, oh, you shouldn't be so mad at the, they're not making like. But the problem is these people were the ones who were helping make the laws. Just because they were small did not mean they didn't have power. That's why there was such a backlash against it at the time, when people realized this. That it was these very people who were making laws and creating these things and trying to change the culture. A minority trying to change culture. You know? But I want to be fair, I do think the number is bigger than 1%. It is a lot bigger.
Yeah, no, you're right.
But it's not majority, but it's still enough people. And a lot of these people live in the major cities. Which, by the way, somebody pointed out, if you look at all the major cities, and then you look at the rest of the US, those major cities, all of them will be like bright blue, but all of the rest of the US would be like pink or red.
Yeah.
Even in the area like But again, in these cities and stuff, they don't, because they have the numbers and everything. This is actually why I'm always going to be against the idea of giving power to the, this is why I'm probably always going to be against the popular decision and stuff like that, specifically because, again, you don't need automatons telling everyone else how to live.
Nope.
Yep.
And yeah, they've invested everything that I love. They have removed, the worst part is how they, again, trying to erase history and stuff like that. Like, the characters I want to write and everything right now are all classic pulp characters who have had newer versions come out who are, and
better,
more woke.
Yeah.
Look, it doesn't take that many people to change the world. Right, that's
it doesn't.
That's all I'm saying. It really doesn't. 200,000 people just overthrew a government, so it's worth bearing in mind in terms of numbers of people.
Well, but again, you're making my point. Like, if that, so why are people afraid to talk? Let's say you have a bunch of people who all work at this business, and if the majority of them disagree with the business's stuff, well, again, if all of you said no, what are they going to do? Fire all of you?
Probably, but that would be a mistake.
Right. So that's the whole thing is, again, by compliance, by being okay with the changes, knowing that it goes against everything, they think you're okay with it because you're not saying anything.
Yep.
And I think the biggest thing that you should watch out for, and something that I think you should even watch out for with your schooling and stuff like that, because you were talking about having stuff, because it's coming over there too. Teachers and stuff like that are fighting back to keep people from finding out what they're teaching their kids.
Yeah,
in a lot of places. CRT, critical race theory, is bullshit. Not even going to make a question about it. Not even going to compete. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. It is bullshit.
Yep.
And yes, you have the right to believe whatever you want. You not have the right when you're getting government funds and all this other stuff to teach kids your fucking wacko ideology. And again, I'm not saying that you shouldn't have discussions on CRT. It's like anything else, right? When I was in school, I've always, I argued to talk about, communism, but discussion it, not discussing it like it's fact,
Yeah. I think there's a lot of things. I mean, like, I will be worried about CRT coming to the schools, but right now I'm more concerned about the fact that I've actually got friends turn around at this point going with the mentality of, well, you've had the chance to have the jab, so if you don't have the jab and then you lose your job, that's kind of on you. So that's kind of the mentality that we're dealing with on a societal basis right now. CRT is on the horizon, and that's like the next battle that I'm more than happy to deal with as and when we get there. I just got to get this one out of the way first. So yeah, it's getting quite scary around here. I think there's this compliance mentality on all fronts right now is something that needs to be actively opposed. It's not something that you can just sit back and go, I dislike this and I disagree with it, so I'm not going to engage with it anymore. You have to. You're going to have to engage because people need snapping out of it because everything's got too comfortable for them and they're just being led. And most of the average person is just chomping at the little carrot on the string and following in the direction that it's being dragged.
Yeah.
And it's scary. It's quite scary times to be living in.
Well, the biggest thing, like I said, I had this whole thing with it, but the fact of my belief though is that if you encourage and self-reliance, actually finding yourself going. Again, I'm gonna steal the stuff all through the from the left to right, everyone, but like looking at the things. But if you get somebody to better themselves, that there is no amount of DRT or this stuff that will, again, they'll always be bothered by it. They're, again, we're only human, but strengthening yourself against these things is the only way to do it. Teaching kids to be stronger, being role models of that mentality, showing that failure. Yeah, that again, I think that's why I the biggest reason I'm proud of people like you, Morgan, Morgan, you're going through that now, and I think but the effect of trying and success will come.
Yeah.
But that is a bigger motivator and helper to these problems than anything. Be the person you needed to be. Be the thing, show people, show your kids, show whoever,
I think it's important to make sure that people know themselves. I mean, when you were talking about the CRT thing, there's Joan Rivers. There's a really old interview with Joan Rivers on the BBC, and some guy is coming out, bringing out his, his essentially black supremacy book, and he's pushing it on the BBC radio, and he essentially calls Joan Rivers racist. And the way she shuts him down, I mean, I would highly recommend anyone go and listen to it because she is just the outrage. The outrage. And she's like, you don't know me. You don't know anything about me. How dare you say that about me? Like, I have never once been that person. And I think that it's, if you know who you are, you know what you stand for, then the moment someone comes into your world and tries to tell you that black is white or up is down or anything like that, you can quite clearly go, no, you are wrong. And I think that there are a lot of people who are lacking in that. That's why they're so easily led. So I think that, like you say, this whole, taking control of yourself, taking responsibility of yourself, making sure you know who you are and the ground that you're stood on, and that you're grounded where you are, and then you are more armed with the tools that you need to fight what the hell's going on in the world right now than anyone who's sort of like, you could read all the books in the world and about Leninist and Marxist theories and how that's applied into, history and stuff like that. But unless you are 100% sure of who you are, what you stand for, and all the things that you believe in, you're going to be, this world's going to chew you up and spit you back out again.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and again, if you go through all the steps and everything like that, like if you are able to master that, accept, that when failure comes and stuff like that, stuff like Marxism and all the stuff like that, it just kind of comes to you naturally of how much bullshit it is. because it starts affecting you negatively.
Yeah.
Like, you start realizing the negativity of these things. Like I said, one of the things about the self-growth I have is, like, I stopped being anti-things. And I know, like, there's a difference between being an anti-something and a pro-thing, and I realize that there is a power in the positive mindset. No matter how dark my mind comes from, it has been always that ever-growing push to positive mindset, positive things like that. And the positive of having cynicism is having a firm grasp of the reality around you.
Yeah, there's a difference between cynicism and being anti-something, because the thing about being anti-something is you're still giving it energy. It's like the no news is bad news type mentality, is that, but people will read bad news because bad news sells. Well, if you give it energy, it will sell. Like, if you're going to read that, it will sell. If you're going to focus on the things that you dislike, you're giving energy to the things that you dislike. You're still giving attention to the things that you disagree with. When in actual fact, boycott it. Just don't think about it at all, and focus your energy on the things that you do believe in, because that way that's one bit of energy less going to the things that you dislike. It's just fueling the fire. The fact of the matter is that, as much as I love getting into all the politics of it and looking at it, the more I watch and I read about it, the more that puts the views up, the more that means that someone else is going to make a video about it, and that intrinsically becomes part of culture. All of these things, like, the more energy you give it, you're still breathing life into it. The best thing you can do is just not.
Yeah. Well, again, the thing about cutting off the rotten, the rotten fruit from the tree and all this other stuff that people talk about. Again, trying to find people who, like, I've talked about this a lot. Trying to find the people who have stop hanging around people who drag you down. And what I mean by that is, not like, again, always, I have friends who have their negative and stuff like that, but for the most part, them in my life are positives, right? There's more good days than bad. But when you spend around people who always want to bring you down, or who always, like, find people who empower you to do better.
Yeah.
And again, that's not always the nicest thing. Not always your best friends are going to be the people who tell you you're awesome. Chances are they're probably going to be the people who are like, you might want to buckle up, bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the people who are going to tell you, I wouldn't say necessarily tell you that you're awesome, but the ones that will tell you when you're sat there in the dirt on your hands and knees, going, right, get up, you're not done yet. Those are the ones you need in your corner.
Yeah, I think Ashley put it best the other day about me, is that I am very much the type of person to be complimenting, right? I will compliment people, but I also say, well, you're not done yet, though, so do the next thing. Like, it's the double edge of the sword, right?
Yeah. Ultimate coach.
Yeah, you find the things that are good and positive and stuff like that, but, like, hey, yeah, you are definitely doing better. Now, can you make that better than that? Can you grow from this? Can you, or move on to the next thing? Okay, so you got this down, move on to the next thing. And that's how it always should be. That constant growth, that constant fight for growth. And eventually you'll do it to yourself. And and that's the whole importance of learning the lessons of failure. Learning the lesson of failure is the hardest thing. Because once you do that, there is nothing in your way.
See, now, this is, I'm pretty sure it's an old Winston Churchill quote that is my favourite sort of motivational line, which is, True meaning of success is moving from one failure to the next without losing optimism.
Yeah.
And that is essentially how I like to try and live my life.
Another thing, and this I think will help live a longer life too. Never lose the desire to the desire to learn and to grow, even when you're on your deathbed. Be willing to learn something new.
Every day's a school day. I like learning. I just don't necessarily grow with it.
You're on the beginning steps. You're good. A lot of us get stuck in again. It's very easy to get stuck on the I've gotten older. Why should I care? That's the thing that the stubbornness. But a lot of us fall into that until our world. But again, this is why constantly having your worldview challenged is also important.
Yeah.
Never become. What's that?
I was just going to say, pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. Like, there is no change. Like, there is no growth without change. Like, the comfort is the enemy of growth.
Yeah, it's why I have a hard time being content. I know a lot of people saying, "Hey, be content," but but don't be. What's the other word? But for me, I can't be content either. Like, there's something about being happy where you are. I'm like, no, I'm not. Like, I might be happy with what I have, but I'm not happy where I am. Got to keep going. Got to keep moving. Got to keep doing that stuff like that. And it's finding that drive, right?
Yeah.
But the hard part is finding that drive without losing your goal. And I know a lot of people aren't, but again, like use it as you will, but without losing that thing that makes you you and what gives you that compassion, like learning compassion, learning these things are important. They are.
Yep.
Because I definitely don't want to be that guy on his deathbed and not have people who love him around him. Even if I will die alone. Complacent, that's the word I'm looking for. Yeah, don't be complacent. Yeah. I don't. And again, there was a time when I accepted, when I really thought I was going to die alone and hated and forgotten. And I was okay with it. That's the messed up part of it all. I'm not that person anymore.
Thank God. Yeah, no, I mean, I think my fear was that once upon a time that there might be a chance I might die and no one remembered my name. But I don't think there's a chance of that now. I've pissed enough people off.
With human arrogance, I learned something with human arrogance. Is like, having children's awesome, but the other part is the reason that you try to keep your kids and have that relationship is so that, when you pass away, at least you'll have somebody. I know that sounds weird, but, that's
yeah, I think
right?
about it all the time. I'm sort of like, maybe I should have had more. Maybe I could just still pop out a couple now. And then I'm like, nah, it's another 18 years. No, I'll be all right. Anyway, I'm getting more and more sure that I'm not going to grow old anyway. I'm going to end up in a camp at some time, but
oh man,
but ever the optimist, eh?
Well. If anything like that happens, I'll replace my foot with a robotic foot, and we'll do a great.
Yeah.
We'll do some Hogan's Heroes.
Yeah, wicked. No, we'll see. I mean, no, I'm sure we've got plenty more chance to chat before then. For me to say all the things that'll get me in trouble in my future life. I mean, my cynic levels are very high this week.
I mean, if you aren't getting in a little bit of trouble, are you even living?
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Yeah, but that's standard.
Right?
No. No, yeah, I am. I am. You catch me at a tired point in time, but I am generally a mouthy, overly opinionated motherfucker at the best of times. So, yeah, I get myself into trouble on a day-to-day basis. It's wonderful.
I mean, let's face it, we are the misfit toys here. Okay, come on.
So there's like I don't know if Happy would have ever seen it. I don't know that you guys have ever got it, but there was an old '90s kids show called The Raggy Dolls, and that was immediately what
yes,
jumped into my head.
I remember that show. I remember that show.
I
I
still
haven't seen
remember
it
the
in
theme tune.
years.
No, you wouldn't have seen it since you were little, but Raggy Dolls. Yeah, that was when you said Misfit Toys. That was all I could think of.
Oh yeah, you're too young for that.
Yeah, no. Bless you. No, you wouldn't know. I mean, I'm sending a little head pat over to you. No, darling.
My
Darling,
God.
no. You have youth on your side. You are not old and wrinkly and decrepit and broken like us lot. So.
Yeah, you get you get the best of all of it is you get to learn from all of our mistakes.
And then get to grow up in this fucking hellscape.
Yep.
Oh man.
That's the best.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, no, dystopian like societies. I don't even want to say dystopian future because it's now. But yeah, they they always seem like a fun place to get into all kinds of shenanigans.
There's always been that notion that we've been on the road to a Demolition Man future.
Yeah. Hey, can you believe that movie came out in '93?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't believe half the movies that I know and love so much came out like nearly 30 years ago. But
part of you makes you hope that you're living in like the Matrix universe, that this is just a simulation, but this is reality.
I mean, no, it is. No, there's definitely a simulation. Like, it's been weirding me out. I don't know if you've seen, did you see, like, the Microsoft Flight Simulator that came out, like, a month or so ago? The newest one that came out. And it, like, the CGI on it is just absolutely insane. And we were watching footage of it, and I was like, no, that's a real plane. It's like, wait, no, that's CGI. No, that's CGI. And you sat there, and then I, like, go outside, and I'm walking around, I'm looking at the sky, I'm like, yeah, it doesn't look as real as the shit I saw on TV. Yeah, it's definitely a simulation.
Right. No, I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, no, highly recommend giving it a watch. It's unnerving. It's this the Unreal is it Unreal generator that's coming out, Unreal 5 that's coming out for all the games consoles, which is like, yeah, and now you can essentially create CGI that looks more real than real life, and yeah.
Yeah, well, it's kind of funny is games have been advancing in this specific genre way better than movies.
Yeah.
And that's what the scary part is, like the video game companies.
Because there's more money in it.
Better. It's not just more money. It's they're like there is an incentive. Like for a long time, this is nothing. If you wanted to know why movies suck, is even though there's so much money in it, there's also it's all in the marketing, where there's a literal incentive to make sure the game runs.
Yeah. Yeah, and you've got, and that's an ongoing thing. So it's not a case of like you release it, you make all the money, and then you run to the bank again. It's a case of you release it and you've got to maintain it running. And so any issues people have, it needs to be fixed in real time, as opposed to a movie. Is once it's a product, it's a product. It goes to the box office. It either sinks or swims.
Yeah.
And if people don't like it, you don't have to re-edit it and then go back and do it, refilm whole chunks of the movie again. They're not going to refilm season 8 of Game of Thrones, are they? But they will be updating Valhalla to Assassin's Creed if there's any major glitches in it.
Right. Well, maybe. Again, depends on the video game company, but maybe.
Yeah. It depends how arrogant they are as a company, I suppose.
Yeah.
But just yeah. Anyways, we have actually gone half an hour over our normal time.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to figure that out.
You could have said
No.
something at any time.
No.
You useless woman.
Yes.
So that was the worst laugh in the world. My croaky voice is not doing well.
I think it's your bedtime.
Yeah, I was going to say, how's Happy doing over there? He sounds like he could very well have fallen asleep. As if to illustrate my point.
His brain, the brain is trying to formulate something.
No, he's AFK.
I mean, he's still here, but his brain has gone. What is it? What is it?
Yeah.
The body is willing, but the spirit is gone.
Yeah, the body is willing, but the spirit is gone.
Yep. No. Somewhere else. But no,
sorry, we'll find him in time for next week.
What's that?
I said we'll find him in time for next week.
Yes. The problem is all of us have mostly healthy sleep schedules and life things, because you used to stay up until like 4 hours from now playing video games with me. Now we actually, we're all adults now, except for one.
Yeah, but I mean, she probably works harder than the rest of us.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you. At least you do that.
I know you do. You work your ass off, and then when you're not working, you're sat there like drawing pictures in the background whilst entertaining us and Raz on his rambles. So yeah, like look at you spinning plates in the corner without as if it's nothing.
I swear to God, sometimes I'm at work doing multiple other people's jobs while I'm doing mine. Okay, I deserve to sit in fucking silence.
All singing, all
I
dancing.
do. Fuck you.
Girl's a triple threat.
You have youth. You have energy that we don't have.
No, I am broken.
You need to use all of it. Like,
I am
all of it.
Decrepit early. You literally have to help me out of bed every fucking day. Okay?
That's because you're lazy.
That? No. You know for a fact that's not it.
I'm still gonna tell people that. No. See, we had to have one of those. Huh?
So you're cruel.
Yes! Everyone here should be aware of how much of an asshole I actually am, right?
I know, we're all pretty aware.
I have never pretended to be anything else. All right, I think this is a good place to stop.
Yeah, it is.
Ashley, you got anything to say?
No.
Are you gonna say at least goodbye?
Fuck you. That's what I'll say.
Okay. Happy?
It was a very interesting night.
Well, it always is when I'm here. Or horrible. Normally,
yeah, we didn't even need to turn up.
Anything else happy?
Goodbye, everyone.
All right, finally, Morgan.
Stay optimistic. Stay positive. It's a shit show out there. It's a hellscape. We're going to be surviving for another week, so everyone else do the same if you're even listening. And have a good one. It was lovely. I've enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess I should actually start telling people if you really enjoy our content, please subscribe. We do this 5 o'clock Eastern time every Wednesday. We don't know how long it's going to be. Usually an hour, but we are looking to expand. Yeah, if you like our content, please share with others.
10 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time.
I think if they have the 5 p.m. Eastern, they can look up what time that is for them.
No. We're a different time zone. We deserve our own notification. Thank you very much.
You're British.
Don't worry about that.
You're European. Nobody cares. You're European. Nobody cares.
Do you hear that, Happy? That's it. I'm out.
Yeah, I hear that. I've heard that a lot.
All right, what is the time for you guys? 10?
Yeah, it's 10 we start. It's now late o'clock.
Yeah.
But button my red coat up and bugger off.
Anyways, please subscribe, share it with people and everything like that. And yeah, please join us again if you can. If not, the videos will be up on our channel. Anyways, this is the Spoken Word with Raz. Thank you guys for coming tonight, and everyone have a beautiful evening. Bye.
Bye-bye.
See ya.